Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
To the brightness within you and the truth that is rooted within me.
This is the internet show called MindShifters Radio, and this is Tim Hayes, a psychologist in Crystal Lake. I'm on the show for Dr. Michael Ryce and Jeanie. Hopefully they'll join us any moment, and hopefully their technology is working clearly today. We're here to help promote tools for creating a better world, for ending war on the planet, and for creating the peace and the connection to our source as love that each of us has inside of us, that we were made to be. And this radio show is designed to help people who use these tools and to support those who have support groups going, to help people who use these tools learn the process of the ancient Aramaic tool of forgiveness, which is a tool for removing anything that's less than love from inside my mind-body energy system. And so we're here to support you in doing that. If you have questions, you may call in at 646-200-4169. And our hope is that Jeanie is online and she's opened up the chat room, and that even though she may not be able to tell me right away, she'll put you in the queue if you press 1 if you have a question or a comment, a testimonial about the work, or you would like some support in doing the worksheet process, which is designed to help you remove anything that's less than love from your system. Please call in at 646-200-4169. And if you've called in and pressed 1, let's just test the system out by having you just speak right up and start talking. If I can hear you, I'll respond, and that you'll know it's us talking together. In the meantime, we're here to talk about tools that are available through the Dr. Michael Ryce website at www.whyagain.com. And do I hear somebody else on the line? Okay. Just heard some noise. And if you go to that website, on the front page, on the right-hand side, there's a link that says Download Worksheets. And if you click that link, it will take you to a page that has all you would ever need to know to get started. And actually, what's on that web page, plus your own concerted effort, can take you from absolute novice to great teacher in a very short period of time, if you apply your own willingness to put the pen to the paper and do the simple but powerful worksheet process. The worksheet process is designed to help us understand how we are creating realities that leave us feeling anything less than love. Any form of hostility or fear in our system is our own alarm system telling us we're in error. Our thoughts are off target. And the worksheet process at different times, at different incarnations, has said things like, the truth is my reality is strictly internal, it's unique to me, and is created out of my own thoughts. it's also made statements like, every angry and fearful reality in my mind is changeable.
Yay.
Somebody. Who's there?
You've got Michael and you've got Jeanie.
Welcome, Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
Oh, thank you. It's a delight to be here. And David's here. Hello, David.
David and his infamous mute button.
Hello.
Me and
Hello.
my button, too. Hey, David. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Michael. Doing well. Was just out of the room for a moment. Rick and Joanne are here listening in as well.
Awesome. Welcome, Rick and Joanne. Delighted to hear from you guys. I sent you guys an email or two this morning. If you haven't gotten it yet, maybe check it after the show is over.
Okay.
So how are things in Heartland?
Oh, I'll let Rick answer that. I'll let Rick answer that, and then Joanne answer that.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Rick.
Hey, sir. How do you be?
Good, good. I'm, for my part, I'm forging ahead with the kitchen project, with the retiling of the floor in there, and I'm very much doing my work. And David and I had a interesting talk a little earlier, and helped me work through a couple of issues I had. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Awesome. Well, David's good at that.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So, it's an awesome day here. I'll tell you, it's just perfect. We got some much needed rain last night, and it's just great outside. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to turn you back over to David right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, things are going well here. As Rick said, a few projects are getting taken care of. Joanne's involved in getting some things done, and we're just preparing for the intensives if anyone's interested in coming. I spoke with Ari yesterday. He may be on the show today.
Awesome.
He implied that he would be. So if there's a 312 number in the queue, and or someone that's raised their hand, it may be Ari, and if not, there may be some other callers that are there.
Cool. Fabulous. Well, glad to hear all things are moving forward. They're moving forward here. We have a potential meeting with the Minister of Education and of Corrections here coming up in the next day or so. We're just waiting to hear back from those folks. We connected with some people yesterday, and looks like we may be doing some work within the inner city here with some of the kids and the church group. So there's lots happening.
Good.
Some people just never vacation, you know? Anyway, Dr. Tim, how are you, sir? What's happening in your world?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. We had our group last night, and we watched the second half of Empowered to Heal. And the group was very much in agreement that night when you recorded that video, you were on a roll. And
you know that I don't remember exactly when that video was done, but I think it's about 18 or 19 years ago now. Time flies when you're having fun.
Well,
I was probably still wearing glasses back then, right? On that video?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a fun product of doing the work. I actually, from the time I was about 16, well, no, it was earlier than that. I guess I was about 12. I started wearing glasses, and I've been doing this work for 45 years. I started when I was 11, and about 7 years ago now, maybe 8 years ago, was the first time in my life I was able to get a driver's license without glasses. So I don't wear glasses anymore. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm willing to see. How about you?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I'm
Awesome.
working on it. But with that was the most vociferous comments were about how you were really on that lecture. People were just blown away. And you got the rhythm down, and the words just kept flowing, and the concept after concept kept reinforcing what you'd already laid out. So people were very, very receptive. And once again, we got the comments about how, wow, I never heard him say that before in this lecture. And so that technology you invested in all those years ago, that where the digital technology where it keeps changing every time you play it, that was really a good investment.
It was
Yeah.
for sure. Well, Jeanie tells us we've got a couple of callers. What do you say we check in with them and see what's happening?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So 517, who are we speaking to in Lansing, Michigan?
Hey, everybody, it's Mitzi.
Well, hi, Mitzi. It's good to hear your voice.
Thank
We're
you.
looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks at the Y Again Intensive.
I know. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yes.
How did you heal your vision, Michael? Just doing the work, or did you do something
All of the above.
specific?
It's just I never did any specific work around my vision, although at one point I did create a chart, which I've actually looked into to getting duplicated and haven't gotten done yet, but I did a chart on vision, which I probably need to get back to and get it duplicated, get copies made. It was a large vision chart that works with taking thoughts about seeing and the willingness to see and where our vision really comes from.
Wow, that'd be interesting to look at.
I'll put it on the plate with 1,000 other edits and things that we're doing and see if I need to do any more editing. It's actually been several years since I've looked at it. I'll have a look at it and I'll
I'm sure you need another project.
Duplicate. Yes, I do. I need at least one more. I mean, things have just been so quiet here. We're only editing books and getting playtime. So, and then
I know.
It's kind of fun what's happening here in the Bahamas with just one conversation's led to another, and it looks like we might be actually doing some work within the government with the tools. So that'd be pretty awesome.
Wow. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, years ago when I was in Bermuda, it was pretty interesting. I was there for about 2 weeks, and we ended up becoming Newsmaker of the Week, featured in the newspaper, and we were invited into the Ministry of Education and went into a school. It's interesting, in Bermuda, the school system set up so that the schools choose the students. So you have your higher echelon schools that get all the A students, and then you have your Z students who go into the rougher schools, and it was one of the rougher schools I was invited into, and they said, well, these kids have an attention span. I said, they said, how long? And I said, 3 hours. And they said, no, you don't understand. These kids have an attention span of 10 minutes, and that's it. And I said, well, then I'll do 10 minutes. I can keep their attention longer. I can go longer. They said, they're not doing anything anyway. 3 hours later, we stopped. We could have kept going for another 3 hours. When you're feeding, they're there to eat. It was really pretty awesome. These kids got it clear and heard it. Yeah, that's pretty
fabulous. Cool. That's awesome.
So what's happening in your world?
Well, we're busy. We're busy in our world. Things just, one thing leads to the next, but it's all good.
Yeah.
We're having our support group this evening at our home on Lucy Street in Lansing, and just wanted to remind any local listeners to come on over. We're going to watch one of the DVDs and discuss it and go through our worksheet process, and all are welcome.
Fabulous. So do you have a question for us from letting us know about Lansing, Michigan? Anybody who's in Lansing, Michigan, Rex and Mitzi have a MindShifters support group, and so they'll be doing that tonight in their home, and the flyer's on our website. Or you can go to Rex's and Mitzi's website, which is stillpointbreathoflife.com, and you'll find the information there and how to get in touch with these folks. All right. Awesome.
All right. Thank you. I'll see you in a few weeks.
Okay. Hey, we
right,
appreciate you. We'll see you then. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Area code 561. Sounds like somebody from the Boca Raton area. Who are we talking to?
It's Margaret from Boca Raton.
Well, hey there,
Hi.
Margaret. How do you be, young lady?
I'm fine, thank you.
We haven't seen you in days.
I know. I know. I hope you two are enjoying some time away. And
We are. We're having some fun playtime and connecting with people that are connecting us with the government. If that all comes together, and it's still in right now, but if it does, came out of our playtime. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's exciting. Mike and I will be holding a space of love for you guys to do everything you wish to do there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, all we wish to do is touch every mind, heart, and being in the Bahamas with forgiveness. So hold the space that door opens, and we get to do that.
We'll do it. Definitely. I also wanted to let you all know that tonight we're having our work group meeting, our MindShifters group, and we're having it from 7 to 9 here in Boca Raton at Dr. Love's Business and Home. And the address for anyone that might need it is 365 Northeast 5th Street, Boca Raton 33432. And
why don't you repeat that just once more so it's clear?
Oh, sure. 365 Northeast 5th Street, Boca Raton 33432. And if anyone has a question or needs some help in figuring out how to get there for any reason, my number is 561-929-9857.
Awesome. So do you have any to share with us, or questions or thoughts at this point?
Well, we're just enjoying a beautiful day, and we're looking forward to helping others learn true forgiveness tonight, and we're just enjoying life.
Awesome. Isn't it wonderful how every time you hand it to somebody else, you get another piece of your own puzzle?
It's beautiful, yes. It's true.
Yeah. Is Michael around? Can we say a quick hello
yes.
to him?
Absolutely. Give me one moment.
Hello.
Oh, hey there, good sir. How do you be?
I be wonderful. How are you?
Awesome. It was good to see you guys before we left Florida, and I haven't heard anything from those folks with the returning soldiers program, but we're holding the space that's fallen in place, and that we'll get to participate when we get back to Florida with that. And so if everybody would hold the space for that, we connected with some folks who are bringing families together. Actually, the next program that they're doing was some Marine families who've lost a family member over in the Middle East, and they're bringing the families and the children in, and bringing other Marines in to support them. So we're hoping to get to take the forgiveness tool into that group too. So lots and lots happening.
I think that would be an amazing tool for not only the families in need of relieving themselves of their sorrow, but I think it could also help some of the active duty Marines heal some of the things that they have to go through, because it is very it's a difficult thing, and this work has allowed me to be able to get through a lot of the stuff that I had to do when I was served for 26 years.
Well, it's interesting. We had a person. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a little bit of a delay there, but it's interesting. A few years back, I've never been into Nostradamus, but a few years back, Nostradamus said that someone came to one of our workshops and said Nostradamus had a watchman that said that the soldiers would come to Heartland to heal. And it's interesting, of course, David is there as a former combat Marine from Vietnam, and you've become involved in the work, and Dr. Tim is working with veterans up in Illinois, and the way things are shifting and turning with hard and intensive with the economy the way it is seems to be kind of downgraded. Who knows what direction Harvard goes next? That may just become more of a focal point for the work in the Ozarks.
I think that the work would definitely heal those who are no longer serving, but to be able to serve, you can't be human. I mean, you really have to do what you have to do. You become immersed in the non-being aspect of our culture's persona, and it's it's hard. And Monday was very hard for me. It's Memorial Day. It adds a different dimension to any other day, especially for guys who served and lost people. And usually I hide. I stay in the house. I don't even want to talk to Margaret. I don't do anything. And we try to do something this year. We took a friend from Africa. You've met him.
Yes.
Yeah. We took
Father John.
Father Jacob.
Or Father Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah. We took him to Marlins ball game. It was the first time he'd ever seen a baseball game in his life, and it was
cool.
it was really great to talk to him about it and whatnot. But I just wanted to share and maybe get your feedback on it. I know trying to do this work is all about healing, and what about, and when you do it, you do. Like, I've been doing the 5 worksheets a day, and it's really in the beginning it was draining immensely, and I didn't want to do it. I went into it kicking and screaming, but I'm starting to get some payoff now.
Awesome.
But I still, because I suffer from depression and PTSD, I still wake up with that ailment at days.
Yes.
And I've been doing worksheets on it, and I feel angry. And I'm not quite sure where to direct it, so I direct it at me because that's really where it's coming from. It's coming from something within my belief system. But I get angry that I'm doing this work, and I'm facilitating, and I'm doing 5 worksheets a day, and I practice responsible communication, and yet I still, at a moment's notice, can be stuck into that quicksand.
Yes.
It gets frustrating, and if anybody's doing this work, and at the beginning, or they suffer from depression, the biggest thing I can say is that though I get stuck in it at times, I don't get submersed in it. I think that's been the biggest improvement of that facet of my life. It still happens, and this is what I came out with my worksheet, is that it still happens. It's probably going to happen, but at least I got tools now that I don't get sucked up into it for days on end.
Right. And, of course, being the first person in your family system to have that kind of anger, here's my promise to you. You're not going to be finished with your anger next year or 5 years or 10 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
Notice that you come from a long line of people who use just drug, and much as you choose to abstain, the cleaning of that from your cellular structure, the direct chemistry in the cell, and then the genetic component of it is a long-term project. You're taking on literally the whole family system. There's a statement in the Aramaic where they said, you can't storm the gates of the kingdom. Everybody wants to function. Once they understand, or especially when they have a taste of a human life, when they have a taste, it's kind of like, they talk about a wild animal. When it has a taste of blood, it goes for blood. And when a non-human, one who's got a human body but hasn't been functioning as the active presence of love, gets a taste of that, there's nothing else that will satisfy. And they want it to be the condition forever and not have to work for it. And unfortunately, the fact that we have this multi-generational database called the body-mind unit, where they said in the Aramaic, the sins of the fathers and, of course, the mothers will be passed from 3 to 4 generations. When you recognize that you have in your structure that every thought, every feeling, every reality of 31 people in your bloodline, and, of course, when you go back 4 generations, where did the 4th generation back get their thoughts, their feelings, their realities? But from the previous 4. Who got them from you're literally saying, I'm going to take on the whole multi-generational database and clean it up. And when somebody shows up that resonates something that isn't cleaned up, it's going to fire. There's no choice about it. You remember in the workshops where I say, here I have a middle C tuning fork. I'm going to hit it on the desk, and I'm going to put it in front of a second tuning fork. And what's going to happen to the second tuning fork? Everybody knows the second tuning fork is going to vibrate. And I say, okay, so now is the second tuning fork thinking? No, obviously the second tuning fork is not thinking. All it's doing is resonating. And when we have this, if 10 generations ago you had a great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather who was a warrior who went into battle in, wherever your genetics are from, and he suffered losses, which obviously it's part of that whole insanity and pain and trauma and grief and rage, then when something presents itself that's in resonance with his particular brand of pain and rage and grief, which is your brand, it's going to come up. And the more committed you are to peeling those layers off, the faster and easier and the deeper the layers are that are going to come up, and you're going to get to throw them out. But it's, you can't storm the gates. It's a process. It takes time to get through to the other side of those things. And anybody who doesn't have the patience to do that, then I suggest that they do worksheets on patience, because you can't storm the gates. You can't be there yesterday, much as I would love to. And of course, there are systems of thought that promise people, oh, we're going to knight you, or we're going to give you a magic word to say or a magic name, and then everything will be okay. Everything isn't going to be okay.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. My grandfather was in Bravo Company on Normandy. My father was 101st Airborne during Vietnam. And you're right. But people, and another part of this is that, especially people who are just starting this work, have to realize you can change the next generation.
Amen.
Just by doing this and talking in this way and trying to establish a relationship in this way, I have literally shifted the dynamics of my relationship with my children and trying to shift the dynamics of the relationship with my father. You can change. I always used to hear you say, you can hold a space of love and others will change. And I thought, well, maybe people I see every day, but others can. Literally, without you physically being there, you can make a difference in their lives. And that, as a parent, to me, is worth going through any amount of pain that I have to be able to lay something in front of my children that can help them, or to take away some links of chains that they may have to carry on that I place there.
Well, that's one of the most awesome things about going into the prison system with this work. When we get an opportunity to do that, is the prisoner, the person who's in that revolving door, he's been in and out, or she has been in and out all their lives, are resigned to the fact that that's going to be their lives, and that's going to be their lives of their children, and they watch their children come up and go through the same things, because they can't feed them any other vibration, any other energy or mind energy than that. And when you start showing them that they can work through those things and change that dynamic for the children, I mean, it is awesome what happens. It is just absolutely fabulous. Actually, back when Julie, I don't know if Julie's on the show, but Julie was there when we did an intensive at a place called Creative Health Institute in a little town called Hodunk, Michigan. This was before I bought Heartland. And there's a prison nearby, Coldwater Prison, and we went in. It's a women's prison. And we went into this women's prison, and we did 6 weeks. And there was a woman in there who was there for murdering her husband, who was physically abusive, and she had a self-defense, but and she was pregnant when she went into prison. She had a child. Her child was now 6 years of age and was with her parents, who were in a town, I don't remember how far away, but farther than the grandparents could travel with the child to bring them to see him. So she hadn't seen her child in 4 or 5 years. And she had asked for a transfer, but the only facility near where her child was a minimum security. And she'd been convicted of murder. It was a crime of passion. She'd been being, horribly physically beaten up by her husband, and she shot him and was, found guilty of murder. And they said, lady, you ain't going nowhere but right here. You're staying where you are until, and I think it was 15 years. And she started doing worksheets the first week in a 6-week series. And on the 6th week, she brought in her transfer papers. She was being transferred to the minimum security facility, which was in the town where her grandparents and her child was. She started school in that time period. I heard from her about 4 years ago, and she's now a counselor that works with people in prison in getting them out of the revolving door.
That's amazing.
And
you talk
so,
about children. I got to pass on this story to you. We have an amazing young woman. She's 16 in our work group. And I guess last Wednesday she shared with me that there was a problem at school, the typical 16 high school drama, and there was some upsetness.
Which was what she had done her worksheet on the week before, right?
Exactly. And so there's some drama going on, and she gets in the car with her friends because another gentleman that said the worksheet was dry picking her up, and she passes out worksheets to her friends. And they're all sitting in the back seat, and she's leading them through the worksheet. Isn't that amazing?
Doesn't get better than that.
That is just, that's the right frequency being put out there. And you're absolutely right. Everybody, whether they know it or not, they want that. And once they get a taste of it, that's it. That's it. That's all you want.
I'll never forget, we used to have an office in Albany, Georgia. That's where we developed the prison program. And I'll never forget one day I went in that my partner, who originated the laws of living, originally called emotional maturity instruction, and then when we put our work together, it became called laws of living. But I remember going into the office one day, and they called him Mr. Mac. And there's this guy who's about 6'6", 300 pounds, revolving door, been in prison, since he hit puberty, he was in prison, and in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And, Rachma being the filter in the frontal lobes of the brain that keeps human life available and keeps love present in us. This guy comes bounding in. I mean, he literally bounced in like a little kid. And just like, this is a guy I wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley. Just brutal-looking character and a brutal life. And he bounces into the office just as excited as a little kid and said, Mr. Mac, I kept Rachma active all week this week. That's the kind of change that happens when people have access to the actual work of Yeshua. It's just, it's what can I say except that it's awesome. And, we were there with that 16-year-old girl, and to watch her with her courage to go through that worksheet, in front of, here was this 16-year-old girl, and there are about 15 adults, and she takes the worksheet on, and she goes through this step by step with a friend at school, dissing her, and coming out the other side, and where she started out with, I want to pound her, she ends up with this is silly, and, moves from a little kid's angry perspective into an adult perspective, into a human perspective of how silly that I'm willing to throw away my friend over this, silly ass thing that happened. And then the next week she's sharing sheets with the other kids. The idea of this work, that's what's going to take it to every mind, heart, and being on the planet. So awesome for the work you're doing, Michael and Margaret and and of course everybody that's working at Lois is starting a group. Patricia, I think, is starting in July with a group in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we're meeting her
Lois
tomorrow.
Is starting. Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, we're getting with her tomorrow when she gets off of work.
Fabulous. And Lois is starting one in Pompano, and Julio, after he comes back from teacher training, is starting one in Miami. And Nene has got the Spanish group in Coral Springs. It's just awesome to watch what's happening there. And thank you to everybody. And I thank the universe for arranging the time that we could be there long enough to be able to help all that to come together.
Absolutely. Blessings to you and your lovely wife. I'm glad you had a good time on your anniversary, and we love you.
Awesome. We appreciate you guys. Blessings.
Bye.
So, Jeanie, do we have the callers? Oh, Nene is on the phone. Awesome. Speak of angels, and angels appear. Here's Nene. How are you, young lady?
Oh, yes, great. What a wonderful meeting.
Yes. Yeah,
Mike and Margaret and you, everybody. Well, it was extraordinary to see you in a row Thursday and Friday and have everybody together that Friday with Gustavo and Michael, Margaret, Lois, and Tricia, everybody sharing their love, and it was super awesome. And I personally experienced high vitality and that tremendous love and energy. And I certainly went into a deeper level of healing. And this was very important or very unique. I think each layer is unique. And I decided to breathe because I felt so many emotions coming out of my system. And I said, well, I'm going to do that breathing. And I did my breathing. And then I was driving back home, and I have these thoughts about my daughter. And I connected to my own pain, and I said, well, I'm part of the breathing, I'm letting it go, I'm shabaking, and I cancel my goals to have already resolved her health. And I stopped in a place to get some juice. I was very hot. And Michael, I started feeling that energy, tears coming out, and at one point I really had to just let them coming out. And I felt on my right hand, my arm, between the shoulder and the elbow, a vibration so strong, and I could see my mind as colors, but they were very gray, in different tones of gray, moving so fast, and coming out as like an electricity that I couldn't. Of course, you can't control those things, and I kept looking at my arm because I couldn't understand what was going on. But all that started coming out through the elbow, and then I felt from the back of my neck going through my left hand. As you know, when your hand is numb and then starts to awaken, and you start feeling all these feelings.
Pins and needles.
Like needles coming off my hand. It was just like that, so strong. And next, I had to hold myself to a wall because then my knees, I couldn't stand on my knees. And somebody said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Please just breathe with me. Yes, I'm going through something." And I said, "Please hold my hand." And that person there stayed with me and held my hand and held a space of love.
Awesome.
And it was, I don't know how long, perhaps 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know really. And after that, Michael, was processing. Then even today, I did a worksheet and I had to sleep a little bit more because all of that.
Well, it sounds like whatever this issue is that's moving, that you're in a real sensitive period for doing it, and that sounds like probably stuff you're cleaning out on a genetic level.
Yes, it was so strong. I wish I could draw what I saw in my arm or in my mind. I don't know, but very strong, yes.
Well, you've been really so sincerely doing your work. I don't know. Can you put your phone on mute, Nene, when I'm talking?
Yes.
I'm getting feedback. I don't know if it's from your phone or not. But anyway, yeah, that's better. When we talk in the work about developing the ability to decode what's happening in your own system, that you open other levels of understanding and other levels of faculties to be able to comprehend and to see what's happening on those other levels of energies. And that sounds like that's what's developing in you as you do this, and that you're in a really sensitive period for clearing this issue out, perhaps for all your generations. That's pretty awesome.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
I can.
Okay. Oh, yes. It was very strong, and I feel inside of me as something dies, like a grease. After that, and also more lighter, something lighter in myself. Yeah. Here.
Nene?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. We could hear you say that you felt something lighter. I don't know. I think Michael might have dropped off.
Okay.
But,
yes, I feel. Oops.
Go ahead.
Yes, lighter. You know, like you took something out, and then that was. And then I continued that. I'm sorry. Yes.
We got a little bit of a delay here, so go ahead and complete Nene, and then I'll see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was Sunday, and then Monday, the elimination through my nose. I thought it was a cold. No, it was just coming out of my nose. And then I also helped Maruja to do the MindShifter that she was blocked. So also that, and I did a MindShifter. So the whole weekend for me was a complete mini intensive.
It sounds good. Well, you know, we talk in the work about developing another level of faculties, comprehension, understanding, and moving from the perception out of carbon-based memory into perception based on the true being that we are, true perception. It's just that's what they're experiencing. You know, Paul talks about true perception when he says, whether in or out of the body, I'm not, for I saw things which I could not utter. There aren't words for what's going on in the actual energy system of our human lives. And the words that we have describe our mind's limited perception of those things, but to speak to them directly. But as you do your work, which I really acknowledge you, I think you shared in the support group we did last week that you were on worksheet 2160 something. So the fact that you're doing that, you're developing these deeper faculties, which give you the ability to decode and to see what isn't visible to the eye because it's not in the visible light spectrum. And you know, you do those things by doing work. You don't develop those things by some kind of, you know, magic thing happening to you, and you don't develop those things by going out and trying to develop. In the East, they call them powers. And people who go to try to develop powers tend to become imbalanced. If you do your work, you earn those powers and they come. And it sounds like you're doing that and that you're in a real sensitive period for opening a whole other level of your genetics to healing and moving out some of those things that never belonged. So that's just right on track and awesome.
Thank you. Yes, I am, as today, I'm in 2,173 today.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I acknowledge you for your commitment.
Thank you. The more I do, I know it's not doesn't feel good, you know, at all. But it was awesome, and also for that person that held my hand, I'm sure that that person also got some of the vibration of the process.
And notice how you attracted somebody, you resonated somebody in who perhaps not even consciously knowing what it was they were doing was able to be there and hold that space. That's the promise as you do your work, is that, what you need will be provided. And there's an awesome line in the Course in Miracles that refers to us when we tap into this, in Aramaic, ruku dukucha, this literal elemental force that the Greeks called the Holy Spirit, but is so much more, that when you tap into that, and what the Course says is, once you have accepted it, in Aramaic, this power that the Greeks called He and the Holy Spirit, which the Aramaic was Ruka-Dukudsha, and is a she, is a feminine form, says once you have accepted her plan as the one function that you would fulfill, there will be nothing else. Ruka-Dukudsha, the Holy Spirit, will not arrange for you. Without your effort, she will go before you, making straight your path and leaving in your way no stones to step on, no obstacles to bar your way. Nothing you meet will be denied you. Not one seeming difficulty, but will melt away before you reach it. You need take thought for nothing, careless of everything, except the one purpose that you would fulfill. And its fulfillment is guaranteed because it rests on you, a son or daughter of the Creator. And so you're on that path, you're doing your work, and that promise holds. And as long as we're living in that space of our true being, of our true human selves, and for anybody who's listening to the show who's not familiar with some of the ideas and the terms that we're using, we have a very simple definition for human life. Hold a newborn child, and you know what human life is. If you're not experiencing yourself as that, then I apologize for being the bearer of bad news. You don't have a human life. And if you don't have a human life, settle with the fact and get into the truth of, I'm functioning as a non-human. I think I'd like to do what it takes to become human, to function as a human being, rather than as a bundle of ancient hatreds, hostilities, fears, griefs, and pains. And I'm willing, and this is what Michael was talking about earlier, I'm willing to do the work that it takes to move to the other side of this non-human existence into true human existence, and to bring that to the point. That's what we're here to do. Thank you for your call. Thank you for your work. And you have a support group on Thursday night, right, in Coral Springs with the Spanish group?
Yes, tomorrow Thursday night we're having the group, and then next week in Boca Raton. And yes, and I'm very, very grateful for everybody and for myself, for me,
awesome.
Being available for myself. And whenever you have a chance, Michael, if you could explain the difference between liberty and freedom.
Okay. Sure. Well, the idea that most people have in this culture is that they want freedom. They want to do what they want to do, whenever they want to do it, however they want to do it, and have the result turn out the way they want it to. And within a universe, an energy system of law and order, that is, nothing steps outside of the operation of law, and law is not something to be obeyed. There is no creator that's saying, you better follow my laws, or that's a human thing. That's kings wanting you to believe that law is the rule of a superior, but law in the ancient Aramaic sense is not the rule of a superior. Law is simply how the eternal forces that the Creator created operate, and they happen. They're not to be obeyed. There's nobody who cares whether you obey them or not. Somebody who steps off a cliff obeys the law of gravity. At the bottom, bones break. There's nobody going to punish them because they stepped off the cliff. The law just happens. And so we are all at perfect liberty. There is no freedom as such. You can't get away with anything if you come into avoidable collision with law. In other words, if the law is happening and you step off the cliff, you're going to experience a consequence. You have no freedom from that consequence. You can't pretend that you can violate, that you can do things that are insane and not expect to reap the consequences. So we all have perfect liberty. That is, we get to choose what we wish to do. If we have no comprehension of the operation of law, somebody who doesn't have a clue about 2,000 feet down at the cliff, doesn't know any better, they have perfect liberty to step off, and their perfect liberty will include the breaking of their bones at the bottom of the hill. And so it is with the whole operation in the mental, the emotional, and the social universes. There are laws. Those laws mean they operate, they happen. And They happen regardless of who we are or what we would like to have. The Creator is no respecter of persons in this regard. It doesn't matter if the highest or the lowest steps off the cliff at the bottom, bones break. It happens. That's just the way it is. So give up the search for freedom, accept that you have perfect liberty, come to understand and comprehend how the law operates, work within it, and now, instead of those avoidable collisions with law where you are damaged, the law itself is never broken. The law sustains no fracture whatsoever. But as you understand the law, you now have liberty to work within it and produce the kinds of results that you want. So that would be the difference between freedom and liberty for me. So, Nene, thank you for your questions and your input. And Jeanie tells us we've got a couple more callers, and we've got about 10 minutes left. So let's see what another caller has to say. Yes. 786, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Michael. This is Julio calling from Miami.
Well, hey there, young man. We, again, speak of angels and angels appear. We were just talking about you a minute ago.
Yeah, I heard it. Yes.
I
want to congratulate you on your anniversary, first of all.
Thank you. 7 awesome years together.
Wow. That's fantastic. You guys are doing great work together. I also want to mention that I'm unable to pick you guys up on my computer. It cuts off immediately after coming on, so I'm having to listen to the show over my phone. So the reason I'm telling you that is because I don't know if you're aware of it, if it's an issue that you're having right now because of the circumstances or whatever, but I just thought I'd tell you.
Okay, well, thanks for letting us know. The fact that we're in the Bahamas, that happens out of New York, and you going in wouldn't have anything to do with that. But we'll report it to Blog Talk and see if there's anything they can do about it, and or if there's anybody else on the show listening on your computer, maybe you're in the chat room, you can call in if you just let us know if it's working, and maybe there's some kind of an anomaly in cyberspace. Who knows?
I thought I'd tell you in case other people were experiencing the same problem. So
thank you. I appreciate it. We'll check into it.
Anyway, meanwhile, I know we're running out of time soon, and I wanted for you to support me with a big issue that I'm having here.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Over a week ago, I sent a dear friend an email, and I sort of get anxious for a reply, if I don't hear back, especially when the email is not time sensitive, but sensitive in other ways, and in emotions and things that I was communicating. Well, it took about a week to get back to hear from him, and finally I did yesterday. But by then I was like, I was a little bit. All these issues, I've had issues in the past of, not feeling loved, thinking that people will reject me. They're not being honest with their feelings, that kind of thing. That seems to have plagued me for many years. I am doing better with those issues, over the last few months. I've noticed. But yesterday, even after I got an email that was very, very nice, a very nice email, still, I couldn't overcome the feeling, the feelings that I was experiencing the whole week waiting for that reply. And, it just felt like, well, why is this all coming up like this? When I've been doing the work I had done, some sheets over the last few days.
Right.
Because I noticed what I was feeling, and it was intense. And yesterday, even after I got the nice email, it was still there. It was still.
Right. Can I suggest a mind shifter?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. You got a pen handy?
I do.
And for those who might think, as I give Julio this mind shifter, that I'm crazy, let me just briefly explain a mind shifter. A mind shifter is a tool that we use to resonate and get to look at deeper parts of the mind that have been hidden around certain issues. And so the idea of a mind shifter is just to get those brain cells firing that we need to be looking at. And so and it's a written process. If this one happens to fit for you or appeal to you, you might want to write it down and use it. But what we do is we invite people to take a piece of paper and divide the page in two. And on the left side of the page, write the mind shifter. On the right side of the page, write everything that comes up in response to that mind shifter. And just that's a way to resonate those dissociated brain cells and get them to dump on the page. And what you do is you spend an hour to 2 hours just writing the mind shifter and then every thought that comes up in response to it on the opposite side of the page until you see where your deeper work is. So, Julio, what I'd suggest is a mind shifter that goes like this. It's safe and healing.
It's safe and healing.
And I love it.
And I love it.
When people ignore me.
When people ignore me.
Are you breathing?
I am breathing.
Good for you. Awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
So you might want to write that and see what comes up, see what your mind shows you is in that file and being ignored, because it sounds like it's about being ignored instead of responded to.
I thought you might give me a mind shifter. I didn't know exactly what it would be. I didn't expect this, but it's good.
Awesome. Well, let us know the results of it. Let us know what comes up and what other worksheets you get to see that you need to do in that regard. And, of course, it's being in our whole culture, this thing of being dissed is such a big thing because, unfortunately, when we were kids, that's the way oftentimes parents learn to control their children. Well, I'm not high school age. I'm going to put you off in your room by yourself. I'm going to pretend you don't exist. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to be abusive with you. All the crazy things that go on with kids that parents say, I cherish you. The parents look at this newborn child and go, what an awesome presence of love, and then go about doing things like verbally, emotionally, and physically beating up on them. And for the slightest infraction, according to the parents' beliefs, they impose non-human life on the child. And this idea of being ignored or rejected is one that, and many of the churches use it to control us. That, you're going to be disfellowshipped. We're going to throw you out. And I know there's one particular case where a woman I know had really tapped into a new level of understanding this law of love your neighbor. And when she wrote to her pastor about that, sharing some of her new insights into being able to embrace people that her church said, these people are bad and wrong and evil and all of that. And she wrote back and said, wait a minute, that's not what Yeshua says. He doesn't say to love those that agree with us and do what we want to. He says, everybody, that's our job. And in the Aramaic language, the word neighbor means anybody that you think about. And literally her pastor wrote back to her and said, I hope God brings you down. This is somebody who's supposedly a Christian pastor I hope God brings you down that you would dare to say such a thing, that we need to love these people that we know are bad and wrong and evil and wicked and, all those things. It's like, and when you understand the brilliance of the man named Yeshua saying our job is to maintain a human life that is love, in the presence of our neighbor and the Creator, that's the directive. It's got nothing to do with the neighbor. It's got to do with we maintain and function out of our human lives. And sadly, most people can't even do that with their own children. And so that's part of what needs to be overcome and undone in order for us to step into this true human life that we were designed to live, that the world specializes in taking from us. And oftentimes, sadly, it's our parents, our church leaders that specialize in taking it from us, which is pretty bizarre when you think about it.
Yeah.
So let us know the result of that mind shifter, if you would, sir. Any other questions for us?
No, I'm just wondering if you're getting some rays out there finally.
Well, actually, I was just going to say, we've got this huge, dark cloud here that's we're sending over in your direction. It's moving toward you guys, so you should see it in a few hours.
It's bound to happen. It happens every afternoon in May and June in Florida. And South
We're
Florida,
out of time, Michael.
We're getting the same here in the Bahamas. Say that again, Tim.
We're out of time.
We're out of time. Well, everybody, bring somebody to the show with us tomorrow. Check the website out for support groups, for intensives, and have the best year yet of your eternal life. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate your support. Blessings. Bye-bye.